Hey guys, how you doing? This is PZEtolawar, and in today's video I'm going to talk about which faction in my opinion is the strongest faction in Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires. Let's get into it. Warhost of the Apocalypse, which is Archaon's the Ever-Chosen's faction, is the strongest faction in the game as of right now. So now let's talk about why he's the strongest faction in the game. So first, it comes down to his race, Warriors of Chaos, and all their new amazing mechanics. They used to be a horde faction and they were really weak, but that's not the case anymore. Nowadays they have access to dark fortresses, which are super strong settlements economically, and as you can see, I'm making 4,920 coins in this dark fortress alone, which is insane. And they also have decent garrisons even in the lower levels, which makes them a defendable bastion against all sorts of enemies. So this is a tier 5 dark fortress and the garrison in it is simply insane. The garrison consists of 7 chosens, 2 marauders, 2 gore beasts, 2 chaos knights, 1 giant, and even 1 exalted hero. Instant recruitment is another amazing feature. They have access via Warband Recruitment. Based on the percentage of different chaos gods corruptions present, you can instantly recruit units dedicated to those chaos gods corruption. So for example, in this dark fortress I can recruit all these units shown here, such as Sparring Champion, Chaos Warrior, Forsaken, Chaos Knight, Giant, Dragon Ogres, and Trolls, which are all dedicated to undivided chaos. Since in this settlement we only have this corruption present, they also have access to Warband Upgrade, which allows you to upgrade your units to higher tier whenever you level them up to a certain point. This essentially means you can upgrade the lowliest unit in your roster, which is Marauders, all the way up to one of the tankiest and strongest units in the game, which is Sparring Champion, when given enough time and experience. You can also dedicate your undivided units to different chaos gods to further specialize them in certain roles you would want them to have in your armies. Another amazing mechanic they have is Gifts of Chaos, which you can activate using souls that you can acquire through fighting mortals and some other means. Archaon has access to 1 extra undivided Gifts of Chaos compared to every other Warriors of Chaos, which have 3. Amazing gifted units such as Hell Cannon and Dragon Ogre Shaggets are among undivided chaos gifts that you can activate along 2 other gifts. Having access to 1 extra undivided gift would definitely give Archaon an advantage over every other Warriors of Chaos. Another racial mechanic they have is Path to Glory, where you can unlock 3 Boons of Chaos, which are abilities, traits, and some extra buffs for your lords and heroes. You can also dedicate them to a chaos god for a specific role of your choosing whenever they reach a certain level using souls. At the end of turn 1, he can recruit 2 great units, 1 Hell Cannon and 1 Regiment of Renown called Swords of Chaos, which is a chaos knight with 24 entities, super strong and tanky, has Apocalyptic Charge, which gives extra charge bonus and speed to nearby allies, and also Guardian, which gives 15% physical resistance to nearby lords and heroes. As Warriors of Chaos, you get to vassalize most factions in the game. In a minute, I'm going to talk about why vassalizing other factions as Archaon is even better than any other Warriors of Chaos faction. You can also Force-confederate other Warriors of Chaos when you defeat them in their last settlement, which means other than your faction leader, in this case Archaon, you can have access to 7 other amazing legendary lords, and each one of them on their own can decide the fate of any conflict. So now let's get to why vassalizing other factions as Archaon is just superior. With every single vassal you get extra 10% research rate, extra 10 relations with Warriors of Chaos, Demons of Chaos, Beastmen, and Norska, and on top of all that, 25 souls per turn. So potentially by having tons of vassals, you can steamroll the whole research tree under 100 to 105 turns, which means you can get some juicy buffs, especially for already overpowered Sparring Champion, even sooner. As you guys can see, I already have 25 vassals, which means I have extra 250% research rate, extra 250 relations with all those factions, and also 650 souls per turn, which is absolutely insane. Archaon's starting position is just perfect. He starts in the province of Blood Marshes and he can capture his first dark fortress there. The only immediate concern you may have is Boris Ursus, which you can easily deal with him since the early game roster you have access to is simply stronger than Kislev's. On account of the fact of him not having a hard start, you have the freedom to choose which direction you want to expand to. You can go westward and capture all the dark fortresses in the northern Chaos Face and Norska, and in the process you can Force-confederate Sigvald, Valkia, Azazel, and Be'lakor, and also make tons of vassals such as Norskins, demons, and dark elves. Or you can even go eastwards to capture all the dark fortresses located on the north of Mountain of Morn and Cathay, and in the process you can also Force-confederate Kolic and Lich. And of course you can always go southward into Darklands and Empire, where you can fight and pillage for money and souls. You can also capture all the dark fortresses located in those areas, and getting Festus in a Force-confederation is just a cherry on top. In summary, these are all the reasons that make Warhost of the Apocalypse the strongest faction in Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires. Access to dark fortresses, and any of them can be turned into an economic powerhouse. Access to Warband Recruitment and Upgrade anywhere on the map. Having Path to Glory, which will let them dedicate their lords and heroes to a Chaos God and ascend them to demonhood. Having Gifts of Chaos, which Archaon has access to one extra undivided Gift of Chaos. At the end of turn 1, he has access to one Hell Cannon and one Sword of Chaos. Faction effects such as extra resist rate, extra relations with demonic aligned factions, and extra souls per vassal, which will intensify with the number of vassals they own. Force-confederation of other warriors of chaos, ultimately resulting in the inclusion of 8 legendary lords in your armies. Wonderful starting position gives him the freedom to expand in any direction.
Alright boys, I hope you have enjoyed this video.
And if you did, please let me know in the comments down below. This is PZ War, and I'll catch you on the next one.